So they are targeting solo lanes for both sides.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure in one of the series yesterday, the Camille or the Fiora, neither of them got banned and neither of them got picked. So that was very interesting to see. For once, if that was EU, they would have been snatched up in a heartbeat. But we see the Garen and the Renekton come through as well. So yeah, some really big Baron lane bans there. But we also get Jax locked in and the set locked in for haters. I'm pretty sure we didn't see Set or Jax for either of these teams last week, so we've already seen some unexpected picks, a little bit of flavor going on for both of them. The Corki we saw for APHRO. We didn't see the Varus, but obviously Varus is one of the great ADCs right now, especially for being left in that bot lane whilst your support goes roaming. Massive poke potential and massive outplay potential as well for the ganks with the chains of corruption. And we see the Fizz come through for haters. This was particularly one of Kangus's favorite picks last weekend. But here is the full roster. Any thoughts on this from yourself, V?
I think it's very interesting that haters drafted two assassins into a Shen and Corki, both of which are very interested in like self PO and like POing their teammates. I think it would be haters comp is a lot harder to pull off, especially with those two picks. Whereas APHRO can just sit back with Corki and Varus and poke them down before they can even engage, especially that haters has no sustain. So I think haters has a bit of an uphill battle here, but I know obviously that they're great players, so I'm excited. I'm excited to see how they will navigate this.
Definitely, yeah. I think it all relies on the fact of like the Galio being able to try and maybe taunt the likes of the front line that's Shen and Alistair, because let's be honest now, the Jax is not going to prioritize the team fights. If we are looking for a traditional Jax in the Baron lane, he is going to be completely focusing at that solo split push in the top lane. But whereas the Galio and the Sets, you're probably going to see them more so within the team fights, trying to take away that front line from the Varus and the Corkiny, leaving them wide open for the Fizz and the Kha'Zix and even that Zigzalt. But Mr. Jin on the Kha'Zix is going to be really interesting because it's a completely different style of jungle we saw last week with him, because he went for the Leona. Obviously, that is one of his surprise picks. And then the Jinzhou as well. So we've gone completely 180 to go for an assassin pick here for the Kha'Zix. And we're going for Conqueror over the First Strike. I think that's probably for the best, considering that Fizz and Ziggs already have First Strike on the side of haters.
Yeah, I do find the Conquer on Kha'Zix very interesting. Because with Conquer, you do want those extended fights. I'm trying to wondering how exactly he would be making use of that. Also, with Corki and Varus both picking up that exhaust, very, very acute pick there with the two assassins on the side of haters.
Definitely, definitely. But yeah, like yesterday, we saw Kha'Zix come through in the jungle, prioritizing the third ability over the first ability. Obviously, for using the first strike, you kind of want to have that range attack so you can try and proc first strike at least, because if you don't have that use of range, it's pretty much useless on the Kha'Zix. But considering the Fizz and the Ziggs has it, I kind of feel like a third champion within the roster would probably be a little bit of a overstatement there. Considering that Kha'Zix is going to be needing to get in there and use those massive Qs, Conqueror is obviously going to assist that a little bit better for taking out these champions. But the Set and the Jax matchup is quite interesting to be fair, because we don't normally see those two duking off in the Baron lane much within EU, because you normally have the likes of, even if Camille or the Fiora has been banned, you have the Renekton come through. We normally have the Scion coming through as well in the Baron lane also. But Jax is definitely, well, Set more so is a little bit more of an off pick for EU. But yeah, not much going on currently in the first half of the match. Early lead for APHRO on the gold, which isn't massive. It's literally 300 gold. Not even that now. It has been completely equalized to 6.4k gold each. So both of these teams just looking for a steady start. We see Alistair rotating in the mid lane.
Yeah, both junglers full clearing. Pathing to opposite sides. It does not look like there will be much action in this early game. And yeah, I think Jax into set, like you mentioned before, set is like it does go pretty even early, but I mean we all know how much of a monster Jax can be late game. So it does look like Misogen is hovering around, seeing maybe if you can shut him down, but the Alistar has roam top to possibly assist with that.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, Shen's down in the bottom half of the map, obviously, before recalling, so it's not like the Varus has been left completely alone, but getting a bit of an interaction here. So there's a counter-strike from the Jax. We do get a stunned Misogen at the back there, and we have Shen coming in using that ult also. So it's now a 3v2. Both the Kazakhs and the set looking pretty low here. It'll be interesting to see if we actually get a first blood in the Baron lane.
It's like both teams just walk away. Nothing really happening. Had to burn the Shen ults early on. But I do think at the beginning of that play, Misogen was on a ward. So it was a good opportunity for the Alistar to cover the top gank. He is looking to come up, but he might be too late.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. But yeah, we got a little bit of a brawler bash up there in the Baron lane, which is probably only been the most interesting thing so far within this match. The pace is completely different to what we saw yesterday from the other teams. It was a very sort of pedal to the metal, and we were seeing the like of 3k gold difference within 3 minutes, and now it's very sort of minor gold lead for APHRO once again. It's not much. It's just because Shen's farming up and clearing these farms probably a little bit faster than the Kazakhs yet. It's just about 200 gold difference between the jungles currently, so that's where that minor gold difference is coming from.
Yeah, Misogen still has to clear his whole top side, whereas Shen pretty much just finished his second quadrant. So it does look like the jungler's a little bit ahead in tempo, but yeah, both supports roaming on a similar timer as well. But maybe we'll see some action when the first objective spawns. We'll have to see what these junglers elect to go for.
Yeah, we can only hope. We can only hope. We can only sustain these tit-for-tat plays for so long, but the jungle objectives are up in 30 seconds. We have the Rift Herald and accompanied by the Ice Dragon. I would more than likely go in favor of the Rift Herald just to try and get those early gains in the lanes for either of these teams, to be honest. The Ice Dragon, not so much the favorable dragon within Wild Rift right now. Oh, Fizz missing out his ultimate. Lunari there. A little bit of a shame there. He kind of hoped that Corki was going to rotate into the tri-bush, but instead went behind the turret. And now that ultimate is going to be on cooldown for a little while. Kazakhs is here, trying to cancel the recall of the Corki. But we do see that APHRO want that Rift Herald, but instead we're seeing haters go for the Dragon. Chains of Corruption onto the Galio. I think that was a bit premature there. I'm not too sure what APHRO was trying to attempt there, but they do. Haters gets the Ice Dragon, so there is no steal. Shen does go in there. He did try for a Dragon steal for APHRO, but APHRO do get the first blood from Jax there, so Jax managing to take... Oh, no, sorry. Shen takes out the Fizz, and we do see the Kazakhs going down as well, so... All in all, they managed to get the Rift Herald, they placed it in the mid lane, and they've got a 2-to-1 trade currently in the early game. So currently APHRO in the sitting for winning.
Yeah, Shen's such a scary pick here, how he can just do one objective and then ult onto the support to contest the next one. You can already see how strong of a pick it is here.
Massive pick, but we can see that the Kazakhs have gone for Serpent Fang first item as well to contest the shield. The shield of APHRO Z3 here. So that is always a great first item to go for. We get the Black Cleaver on the set. Lunari getting caught out possibly here. Nice flank out of there. Managing to get back under the turret and have Galio there for support. Very well played. Yet mid lane turret did go down from Shelly as well. So Rift Herald managing to connect into that mid lane turret is all gravy for APHRO Z3. I'm pretty sure they're feeling very funky fresh right now after that interaction in the dragon, past the dragon, after the dragon, and then into the mid lane turret as well.
Yeah, I also just wanted to quickly mention how Mystogen is going for those Lucidity Boots as well as the second skill Evolve, which is first, which is very interesting. So he is thinking about how the enemy team comp will be with the Shen Alistar. It doesn't look like there's much of a chance to get a lot of those first skills off, right? So maybe he's just using that second skill for like poking out, making sure his team has an opportunity to go in with the double assassins. He's playing it a little bit differently.
Definitely. I think Tengen's got a little bit of an advantage down in that bot lane now that they've switched Corki into the set rather than the Jax here. As long as he knows his positioning and doesn't get caught into Set's ability with the pull in there. Oh, we're getting a 2v1, but there's Galio going in, but Mystogen does fall to the Ignite from Alistair. Big Ziggs ult there, taking out the Jax there. So Wizzle getting taken out also. So 1v1 trade across the map. Set looking to take it into their favor to a 2-1 trade by taking out Tengen as well. But APHRO gets another turret in the Baron lane.
Yeah, fights on both sides of the map. Both teams getting gold from both sides. But there does seem to be advantage on APHRO, especially with turrets. They're accelerating the game state a lot. And not only that, Corki and Varus and Jax have insane scalings. So with the early game gold as well as the late game scalings, I find that'll be a little bit difficult for haters to make a comeback here. But I mean, it is very early into the game. Only 2k gold difference. We'll have to see how the late game plays out.
Yeah, definitely. We got the Luden's Echo being built onto the Ziggs for that extra splash damage. Rabadon's onto the Fizz first item. Interesting, but we're getting a little bit of a interaction down in the bot lane. Mystogen getting caught out once again by the Alistair. I don't think this Kha'Zix pick is quite what haters was hoping for, to be honest. It seems to be very underwhelming because of APHRO's team composition. We were hoping for a more of a supportive Galio with the set into these team fights, trying to bring out that front line, enabling either the likes of Lunaria or Mystogen there into the back line from the likes of the Corki and the Varus, but it just isn't quite working out for them here. Lunaria having to be forced as a recall, but gets ignited to cancel the recall. That is unfortunate, though. That is going to be some long needed time to get back to base.
Yeah, and the next dragon is spawning. He got his recall delayed, so if APHRO can make use of the delayed recalls, then it could be disastrous for haters. Looks like nothing's going on. Does not get punished for the late recall. Posturing, they have control of River. Let's see here. The Ziggs does have a lot of zone control, so that might make it a little difficult for APHRO, but it doesn't look like he's making much of a dent in these front lines.
Oh, massive Ziggs ultimate into the jungle objective, but can Mystogen get in there? Nope. The Ocean Drake does get stolen by Bro Z3, as the chat are calling me out on my Britishness here. But we do get quite a bit of a trade going on. It's already a 3-1 to haters. So haters actually looking like they're on top of this trade. They do lose the dragon, but they are currently looking for a team wipe, and they get it. So a complete ace for haters. That's going to put them back into the running for what potentially could be a win. They need to push some turrets now because they don't have any skin in that game.
Yeah, a huge goal swing for haters. They, depending on what they do with this downtime, could cement their... Oh! Engaged. Flash from Shen. Followed by Varus ult. Very clean. Oh, they stymied the mid turret. The mid turret is still up.
Yeah, I mean, we managed to get... I say we. Haters managed to get that bot lane turret, so they finally got a turret to their name. Still behind in gold, but it's not quite that 2 to 3k that we were seeing previously before that massive team ace that we got down towards the dragon camp and haters side, blue objective side. We're seeing Varus go for collector item 2, which is just going to make that poke damage a little bit more precarious. Is when They think they can get out of there, and then we see the Varus activate that first ability, getting a lot of damage. They got to be careful that they don't proc the Collector, and it just takes out the rest of the champion's health. So I think that's something now they've got to watch out for. We're seeing 2 massive anti-heal items on the side of APHRO Z3, which is the Divine Sunder. Corky going for the Manamune as always. It's looking like he is currently building. Can't quite figure out that item personally, but
Trinity, maybe? Yeah, I think it's
I guess yeah, it makes me think Trinity, but we'll see. But also getting caught out there, the Corky. The roles have been reversed a little bit here. We saw quite a few times Lunari getting caught out in these 3v1s, but unfortunately for Corky there, Tengen getting caught out in a 3v1 in a reversal.
The interesting thing, though, is that although Fizz, if you look purely at KDA, it looks like Fizz is absolutely smoking this Corky, but the gold graph is very even for them. So it's not like Corky is completely out of this, and he does have the scaling component on top of that. So
Definitely.
we'll have to see how Corky can handle this late game, if he can stay away from these engages and stay safe, you know?
Yep, Lunari managed to secure that Baron lane turret also. So I feel like this is now, we are seeing haters finally getting their footing into this matchup. It's not currently looking like the stomping that was going on previous pre-10 minutes of the match. We are seeing haters coming back with a little bit of fire in their eyes currently. We have still the Kazakhs looking a little bit underwhelming there. Manamune for a second item on the Kazakhs is a little bit of a different one. I would love to get Pierce's perspective on that later on post-match. But we're seeing the Nash's Tooth being built on Fizz. We have the Infinity Orb also. So some quite good items now being built on the side of haters. And it is the Trinity Force. We were correct there on the Corky.
Yeah, I think I would, agreed. I would like to get Pierce's perspective, but from what I've seen, I think he's playing more of like the backline possible. Oh, there's a backline. He's flashing in on the Corky in the backline.
Oh, okay. We get that Varus getting the kill onto Lunari, unfortunately. Okay, Corky getting another kill for APHRO Z3.
2 for nothing, and they're moving down to secure the vision for another Drake. Yeah, these death timers are very long. They could easily secure this without having to fight the middle.
Ramita there looking for a little a bash up for Seth. He was feeling a little bit lonely there. Ramita currently on a 2-1-4, which is great for the support currently. This Alistair pick in NA is quite something, especially on these teams. It works very well. I think Alistair is a great pick in general. We don't see much in EU. I think we should probably change that. But yeah, for the likes of what just got on there, they managed to get the Mountain Drake. So 2 dragons to 1 currently on the side of APHRO. Jack's getting in for that temporary red buff also.
Yeah, the Mountain Drake, although it's not 3 dragons, it could spell the difference between getting one shot by a Fizz. Oh, he's getting one shot anyway.
Yep, ready to go. Taken out once again, so Tengen caught overextending there by red team, but we do have Shen here. We have Varus as well. Alice is coming in. He does, however, get into the back of the team line there. We're not actually using either the Proto Belt either or the Flash. He still manages to get in there. Ramita looking pretty tanky. He's trying to take all the damage he can possible, but the... Oh! Mr. Jin getting a little bit too carried away and a little bit greedy there, trying to take out the Alistair.
Yeah, especially with that build, he doesn't have quite as much damage yet as a traditional Kazakhs build. But it was very close, and the Alistar gets to walk away with his life.
Indeed so. But we are currently looking at 9 kills to 11. That's goal lead slowly going away from APHRO currently. I think we just need to see on the side of haters is just a takeover of the gold lead, but also some priority in these lanes, because we've still got the first tier turret up in that mid lane, 16 minutes in, which is crazy. We're trying to see some sort of priority being pushed there from the Galio in that mid lane, just trying to keep the enemy minions not at a overextending into their lane.
I just wanted to draw attention real quick to the Corki building. I think that's Force of Nature. Oh, outside kill. That's the Fizz.
Unfortunate there for Lunari. It's like Tengen and Lunari are definitely, they were opponents in the mid lane, but they are mirroring each other by getting caught out on these overwhelming 3-on-1s quite frequently.
It's not happening again.
Yep, Galio going in with the grand entrance, I would like to say. Well, hero entrance, sorry, grand entrance is the Rakan.
Okay, lots of vision on the top side for APHRO. They have pretty much control over that entire jungle.
Yep, looking to take that second tier turret. Also, will they be successful with it just with the Corki and the Alistar here? We do see Mr. Jin coming in straight onto Ramita, doing quite a bit of damage. We see the Galio going in with the E and the flash. Nicely done. That was a massive taunt there onto Ramita. But Tengen gets to be in a great position in that whole fight just to walk away with pretty much full health, but managed to do quite a bit of damage onto the Kazakhs there.
Unfortunately, at this point in the game, this Alistar is like pretty much immortal unless he gets completely caught out. Even then, he still has his ultimate, right?
Yes, he does. He does. Reaper has that ultimate on Shen currently. I feel like whoever gets this Elder Dragon is kind of going to be the winning factor for either of these teams, because if haters get the Elder Dragon and get a team wipe, then they can really force these lanes. They've got to be careful of the Jax, so that's already going to be... I mean, Lunari's going up there. I think that's a little bit of a miscommunication, because Set did recall to go and take on the Jax. Lunari kind of made the way up as well. Luckily, the Elder Dragon hasn't been started as a fight. It's just being baited and resetted, so nobody can try and go in and get that dragon, but they don't want to be going in on a uneven battlefield here, considering they've got the Alistar, they've got the Shen as well. They've only got Galio currently there for a solid front line on the side of haters. So I don't think whatever haters do right now, it's going to be hard for them to navigate it, especially with Ramita going in there, trying to take out a lot of those abilities, trying to get them on cooldown for when his team come in for the engage. There's the chain to corruption. That's unfortunate for Mr. Jin, but there's the status. I don't think it's going to be enough to save him. The Ziggs ult tried to do some damage there onto Team APHRO, but it was a little bit too late. Kha'Zix had his name signed, sealed, and delivered to death there. Ziggs looking pretty low as well. There's the first strike from the Corki. It's a double kill from Corki. It's a team wipe other than the Set that was trying to stop the Jax into the Nexus. He does throw him away with the Haymaker there, but unfortunately, it looks like the minions and Jax have just finished off the Nexus from APHRO.
Yeah, that's just the Jax scaling with the Hull Breaker. With Set, if he doesn't have that, he just can't deal with those minions.
Definitely. Definitely. But we are going to switch over now to Mr. Pierce. We want your feedback on what happened in this match on some of these build items.
Yeah, so one of the first things you guys were mentioned me during the game was Mr. Jin's build with the Manamune into the Manazane. So that's actually not too